Hi, I'm David Sheets, Principal Security Architect from Curtiss-Wright Defense Solutions. I'm here to discuss the convergence of anti-tamper and cybersecurity in embedded systems. This world is a dangerous place, and it's only getting more dangerous each day. The electronic systems that are used by our warfighters are under seemingly constant assault. Our enemies are working tirelessly to find kinks in the armor that we build into the systems we develop, integrate, and deploy. And it's our job to ensure that our defenses stay ahead of all of their efforts. And you know what? It's really hard. Our jobs aren't made any easier by the wide variety of attacks that have to be defended against. Two categories of attacks that have received most of our attention are anti-tamper and cybersecurity. Cybersecurity ensures that even if an attacker has some remote connectivity to a system, they can't successfully gain access and negatively impact mission success or access protected data. As if that wasn't hard enough, anti-tamper asks us to do the exact same thing even when the attacker has the system in their hands and all the time in the world. In both the cases of cybersecurity and anti-tamper, time is not on the side of the defender. When systems stay connected indefinitely, it opens up the possibility for attackers to try more and more permutations of attack. Time allows attackers to find more bugs in the software and allows successful attacks to be used on previously deployed systems that might not have been kept up to date. Over time, attackers are able to develop new technologies, processing speeds are able to increase, and once previously theoretical attacks are able to come to realities that can be successfully deployed against our systems. For example, we often face the reality that quantum computing may increase in processing capabilities to the point where our current cryptographic algorithms used to protect some of our most critical systems are rendered worthless. So what does that mean for us? We need to focus our efforts on maximizing our defensive ability given our limited resources. We need to design for upgradeability and ensure that system designers look at all categories of attacks and try to find synergy where possible. In the light of this, I'm going to discuss some of the synergy and difficulties that we, as system security architects, face when designing systems that have both anti-tamper and cybersecurity requirements. One of our first and most important challenges is identifying who's in charge. For AT, the answer is much more apparent. The government has set up the ATEA. It has an apparatus that works. Some of us may argue over specific decisions, especially many of the program managers out there who have to live with those decisions. But at the end of the day, the process is well defined and we know who's in charge. On the cybersecurity front, the answer to who is in charge is unfortunately more complicated. Each program is often its own little kingdom. They often have to determine their own requirements, and there's much less guidance on what those requirements mean and how much defense is enough. There are some guideposts, such as the risk mitigation framework, but unfortunately, the risk mitigation framework truly lives up to its name and only provides a framework. RMF isn't a silver bullet to solve cybersecurity issues, and instead, some might even argue that it actually causes more harm by being the de facto cybersecurity framework for DoD, meaning that programs think they are done with their cybersecurity work when they have completed all the check marks in RMF. Fortunately, there are groups within the DoD trying to address the lack of centralized leadership on cybersecurity. One such group is CROWS, the Cyber Resiliency for Weapons Systems in the Air Force. But they're still in the formative stages, and their focus right now is only on the Air Force. While central leadership would be helpful in providing standards guidance to all of us, it looks like that is still years off. So, programs aren't always clear on who they have to report to for all of their cybersecurity requirements, but we can still discuss the more difficult problem of what sort of requirements are we dealing with. As we all know, requirements can be very fickle. Too constraining, and you might design out any possible innovation. Too loose, and you might not get what you want at the end of the program. This can be especially problematic for security disciplines that want to ensure a potential attack is mitigated appropriately, but not forego the cost-risk analysis that all programs have to perform. Therefore, since anti-tamper and cybersecurity both address many of the same aspects of security, authenticity, integrity, confidentiality, and availability, you would think there would be a good deal of overlap. And often there actually is. Unfortunately, this overlap can't always be exploited in a meaningful way during program execution. Because of the different responsibilities and authorities, anti-tamper and cybersecurity are often implemented by different groups. Unfortunately, classification levels can sometimes complicate interactions and collaboration between these different teams. Different rules and security classification guides for the two disciplines can also complicate collaboration. Where there are disagreements on classification level, a program that is trying to use one capability to satisfy multiple requirements may have to classify something to the higher level. Does that mean one group can't understand all of how a capability is being used? Does it mean everyone is required to be cleared to the highest level? These are difficult problems for programs to solve without affecting integration, schedule, or cost, or all three. Another issue that can make collaboration difficult is the prevalence of the use of open source tools in cybersecurity. Partly because of the recent explosive growth of concern over cybersecurity in the commercial world, especially among enterprise services, there are a variety of open source tools that are frequently used to fulfill cybersecurity requirements and needs. Unfortunately, in the DoD community, this can lead to concerns about Trojan capabilities via an insider threat. Whether those concerns are warranted is another discussion, but it is something that often comes up when getting approvals for using open source security tools. Apart from the logistical difficulties in finding synergy between these two security disciplines, there's a very real problem of deciding which discipline wins when there are disagreements on security responses. While anti-tamper and cybersecurity often align in their goals, there are cases where how they might address possible attacks will differ. Cybersecurity may look at a possible attack and decide that trying to complete the mission with reduced capabilities is the most prudent course of action. But anti-tamper may look at the same sort of attack and decide to stop operation to prevent system compromise. How are issues like this resolved? Who gets to make the final decision? Without a centralized security authority, issues like this are resolved by analyzing the risks and getting agreement between all stakeholders. Discrepancies in response are not insurmountable, but this remains an area that system security architects need to ensure is resolved early in a program so that it doesn't become an issue late in a program when architectural changes are far more costly. So we've discussed some problems. How can we try to find that magical synergy that everyone's always looking for? There are quite a few areas that are very promising for effective and efficient collaboration between anti-tamper and cybersecurity. Cryptography. Cryptography is an integral tool in both security disciplines. As new algorithms are developed and deployed, it only makes sense to try to develop strong implementations that can be used by multiple security disciplines. Ensuring that hardened, hardware-enabled cryptographic engines are available in systems quickly will help provide a robust foundation for both anti-tamper and cybersecurity disciplines. Knowing that new algorithms are being developed as we speak, we should all be looking to ensure that new security architectures are designed with a planned path for upgrading to the next generation cryptographic algorithms. And we shouldn't limit this to new architectures. We should also try to plan for the next tech refresh updates of currently deployed systems, and for ensuring that those refreshes set a clear plan for how to update to new cryptographic algorithms once available. Another area ripe for collaboration is secure boot. Both anti-tamper and cybersecurity are implemented in electronic systems. For those systems to ensure their own operation, they need to start from some known good point. Secure boot is the mechanism that allows that. The implementation details are going to be architecture and system specific, and the specific concerns and attack vectors may differ between the different disciplines, but both security disciplines can work together to bring resources to bear to ensure that secure boot is as robust as possible. Great progress has been made in many commercial technologies. Examples include the latest boot capabilities in Xilinx FPGAs, Intel's BootGuard, and NXP Trust architecture. By continuing to challenge commercial suppliers to provide more robust secure boot capabilities out of the box, all DoD systems can benefit from state-of-the-art technology to ensure operations start from a known good state. This will provide a solid foundation for developing more complex security capabilities. Another area that has shown a convergence between anti-tamper and cybersecurity is the complexity and level of attack being deployed. In many ways, cyber attacks are getting increasingly sophisticated. Look at some of the latest attacks, such as Rowhammer, which exploited DDR timing characteristics to bypass processing hardware security controls. Or look at Meltdown Inspector, that exploited modern processor pipeline architecture optimizations and their impact on timing. These sort of attacks are going beyond simple buffer overflows. They're no longer just exploiting software vulnerabilities. They're attacking the lowest level of hardware to try to subvert operation of the system. Cybersecurity must ensure it is not just looking at the machine, simply as an abstract processing system, but must be aware of the most fundamental nature of the hardware it's running. One area that is still in its relative infancy in security is artificial intelligence. The promise of systems that learn and monitor their own behavior has been around the corner for years. But as the capabilities and complexity of systems have continued to grow at the speed of Moore's law, we have never quite gotten to the point of a system learning its own normal behavior and notifying us when it's gone off the deep end. But systems are always improving, and soon we'll have systems that can learn their own acceptable system operational parameters and monitor for unexpected and unacceptable behavior. As these systems come online, there's a real possibility of using cross-domain synergy to improve both AT and cybersecurity capabilities. As an example, anti-tamper security could rely on artificial intelligence analyzing cybersecurity aspects of the system to verify that all communication leaving and entering the system look nominal. If this system can learn its own nominal behavior, it could potentially even dynamically learn its own local environment and potentially tell when it has been moved from one installation to another. This could help provide proof that the system is not sitting in a lab bench or otherwise moved. One final topic that can throw a major wrinkle in all of this talk of synergy and building amazing security architectures is safety. While AT and cybersecurity have many shared goals, safety aligns in some aspects as well. Architectures that care about safety want to ensure that they are running the authentic version of software. They want to ensure the integrity of the system. While AT and cybersecurity align in most of their goals, safety has some small areas of alignment and some large areas of disagreement. Generally, in security, when unexpected events occur, stopping operation is the most prudent option. In safety, it is often all about trying to ensure that the platform continues to operate. So, as we are looking to find possible synergy between AT and cybersecurity, we should keep in the back of our mind that there are related disciplines that build on many of the same fundamental principles, but may have divergent goals during operation. One possible answer for systems that have to combine safety and security is to look at partitioning capabilities. While this can resolve many of the issues, it also introduces complexity into the system, not just in architecture and design, but in integration and test. But in many cases, it is the best option currently available to solve both safety and security concerns. The most important aspect where cybersecurity and anti-tamper are converging is the need to plan for upgradeability. Security needs of DoD systems are only going to grow over the coming decades. Security, both anti-tamper and cybersecurity, will need to be baked into every aspect of the systems. Commercial vendors are already integrating increasingly complex security capabilities into their hardware. As both disciplines grow and mature, we're going to have to ensure that we design our systems to be able to grow with them and at an increasingly fast rate, allowing system upgrades to be incremental, ensuring that there are secure methods of updating deployed firmware and software to patch known flaws and to defend against completely new attacks. As I started out saying, when under attack, time is not on the defender's side. But by working to ensure that systems can be updated quickly and efficiently, we can help level out the playing field somewhat. At the same time, we need to be judicious in where we put our resources. Trying to find the risk-cost balance in security is difficult. We need to ensure we stay up to date on the latest attacks, help push vendors to offer capabilities that will mitigate those attacks, and work to find those areas where we can leverage capabilities to fulfill multiple requirements. Those of us working to advance trusted computing know that the process is difficult, and there are many concerns and obstacles to overcome. I'm hoping that this discussion has helped to highlight some of those issues and point to a path to enable closer collaboration and cooperation for disparate security disciplines. But while our path isn't easy, vendors and suppliers are really stepping up to provide great capabilities. As these capabilities mature and flow into even more architectures and systems, we'll see a marked increase in the security posture of all DoD systems. Security is a never-ending war, but by working closely together, the U.S. government, prime contractors, and commercial vendors can ensure that our fighting forces continue to win the next set of security battles. Thank you.